Say the candidate wasn't part of the government. Let's say the candidate did have a lot of economic experience. Let's say the candidate did deal with crises. Let's say the candidate had a plan to deal with the challenges in the here and now.
Sneaky, you're running as an outsider.
I am an outsider.
I'm here to declare my candidacy for leader of the Liberal Party and Prime Minister of Canada.
Born on March 16, 1965, Mark Carney grew up in a remote Canadian town in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, where resilience was a way of life. His father, a school principal, instilled in him the value of knowledge. That hunger for learning took him far, first to Harvard University, where he studied economics, and then across the Atlantic to the University of Oxford, earning a doctorate in economics. He also met his wife, Diana Fox, a British economist specializing in developing nations, at the University of Oxford. Awarded an Order of Canada, the second highest honor after the Order of Merit. Carney is an Irish and British citizen, in addition to holding Canadian citizenship. He is a practicing Catholic. In 2015, he was named as the most influential Catholic in Britain by The Tablet. Armed with knowledge, Carney entered the fast-paced world of finance. He joined Goldman Sachs in the 1990s, navigating the chaotic world of investment banking. His progressively more senior positions included co-head of sovereign risk, executive director for emerging debt capital markets, and managing director for investment banking. He worked on South Africa's post-apartheid venture into international bond markets and was involved in Goldman's work with the 1998 Russian financial crisis. Over 13 years, he worked in global markets, weathering economic storms and understanding the mechanics of power. In 2003, Carney left Goldman Sachs to join the Bank of Canada as a deputy governor. 1 year later, he was recruited to join the Department of Finance Canada as Senior Associate Deputy Minister, beginning that role on November 15, 2004. From November 2004 to October 2007, Carney was the Senior Associate Deputy Minister and G7 Deputy in the Department of Finance Canada. He served under two finance ministers, Ralph Goodale, a Liberal, and Jim Flaherty, a Conservative. During this time, Carney oversaw the Government of Canada's controversial plan to tax income trusts at source. Carney was also the lead on the federal government's profitable sale of its 19% stake in Petro-Canada. Then, in 2008, everything changed.
Yesterday, the House rejected the $700 billion bailout plan, sending shockwaves through Wall Street. The bailout plan was voted down 228 to 205. The Dow plunged to a record low yesterday, reaching 777 points and closing the day at 10,365. And that is the largest single-day point loss ever. Now, both parties seem to be pointing fingers, playing the blame game.
As the world plunged into financial chaos, Canada needed a steady hand. At just 43 years old, Mark Carney became the governor of the Bank of Canada.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Governor Mark Carney.
Thank you very much, Verity. You're all about to spend the next 25 minutes learning how far monetary policy is from being music.
The youngest person ever to hold the role. Carney was also the youngest central bank governor among the G8 and G20. His bold moves, slashing interest rates, stabilizing markets, helped Canada weather the storm better than most. While other nations crumbled, Canada stood firm. The epoch-making feature of his tenure as governor remains the decision to cut the overnight rate by 50 basis points in March 2008, only 1 month after his appointment. With his efforts, output and employment began to recover from mid-2009. The Canadian economy outperformed those of its G7 peers during the crisis, and Canada was the first G7 nation to have both its gross domestic product and employment recover to pre-crisis levels. In 2009, a Newsweek columnist wrote, "Canada has done more than survive this financial crisis. The country is positively thriving in it. Canadian banks are well capitalized and poised to take advantage of opportunities that American and European banks cannot seize." Carney earned various accolades for his leadership during the financial crisis. He was named one of Financial Times' 50 who will frame the way forward and of Time magazine's 2010 Time 100. In May 2011, Reader's Digest named him Editor's Choice for Most Trusted Canadian. In October 2012, Carney was named Central Bank Governor of the Year 2012 by the editors of Euro Money magazine. The world took notice, and in 2013, history was made.
Mark Carney has been appointed as the next governor of the Bank of England. British Chancellor George Osborne made the announcement in Parliament. Carney is the current governor of the Bank of Canada and is chairman of the Financial Stability Board based in Basel, Switzerland. Carney has been credited with protecting Canada from the worst effects of the financial crisis. He replaces Sir Mervyn King.
Chancellor of the Exchequer. George Osborne announced the appointment of Carney as Governor of the Bank of England. Mark Carney became the first non-British governor of the Bank of England in its 319-year history.
What do I bring to the role? I bring experience as the central bank governor. I mean, there's obviously I bring the experience of Canada in managing the financial system. I have reasonable experience in global financial reform and my role at the FSB, also as my role as Bank of Canada governor. I have management experience, obviously, having managed an institution where we have, as an institution, spent a great deal of time on succession planning and talent management and developing the next cadre of senior management.
With Brexit on the horizon, uncertainty gripped the UK economy.
For the rest of us, the cliffhanger vote on whether Britain will stay in the European Union. ABC's Lama Hassan now with the latest on what they're calling Brexit.
The official results are in. The people of Britain have spoken, voting for a British exit, dubbed Brexit, with almost 52% of the votes choosing to leave the 28-member European Union. Immigration was at the...
But once again, Carney was the steady hand in the storm, guiding Britain through one of its most challenging financial periods. Carney implemented a policy called forward guidance, in which the bank would not raise interest rates if unemployment was above 7% to try and encourage business lending.
One of the key aspects, as you know, is we're just starting a recovery. It's a renewed recovery. It's gathered some legs. We had some welcome news, but we can't be satisfied with the progress that's been made. So the thinking is that we need to provide as much clarity and as much certainty about the path of monetary policy so that people watching this at home, so that people who are running businesses here across the United Kingdom can make decisions about whether they're investing or spending with greater certainty about what's going to happen with interest rates. And in effect,
Carney warned many times that Brexit was expected to negatively influence the UK economy.
a vote to leave the European Union could have material economic effects on the exchange rate, on demand, and on the economy's supply potential. So this combination of influences on demand, supply, and the exchange rate could lead to a materially lower path for growth and a notably higher path for inflation than in the central projections set out in today's monetary or inflation report.
In November 2018, Carney warned that large parts of the British economy were not ready for a no-deal Brexit.
There's 150,000 businesses that don't yet have some of the paperwork that's required in order to export. So business has been working towards this, but the main thing that business was doing in the run-up to the deadline at the end of March was to build inventories, build stocks, so that they could try to supply the UK market as much as possible.
On August 23, 2019, Carney delivered a speech at the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City's Economic Symposium, entitled "The Growing Challenges for Monetary Policy in the Current International Monetary and Financial System." Carney said that the widespread use of the US dollar has had a destabilizing effect on the global economy. Dominant currency pricing is not problematic when there is synchronized growth globally, Carney said. When the tide is rising in America while receding elsewhere, the system needs to be revamped. Carney urged central banks to collaborate in replacing the US dollar as reserve currency. he cautioned against choosing another new hegemonic reserve currency, like the renminbi, and suggested instead a new synthetic hegemonic currency, SHC, such as Libra, which could potentially be provided through a network of central bank digital currencies that would decrease the US dollar's domineering influence on trade worldwide. After stepping down from the Bank of England in 2020, Carney's journey took a new turn, one that transcended traditional finance. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson appointed Carney to the position of finance advisor for the UK presidency of the COP26 United Nations Climate Change Conference in Glasgow. Carney also served as an informal advisor to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in 2020, advising him on the government's COVID-19 economic response. In 2021, he captured his profound insights in his book, Values: Building a Better World for All, challenging the world to rethink the very essence of capitalism and the values that drive our economies. On May 13, 2025, Carney plans on publishing the book, The Hinge: Time to Build an Even Better Canada. According to Carney, in 2012, Prime Minister Stephen Harper asked Carney, who was then governor of the Bank of Canada, if he would join the Conservative government as Minister of Finance.
I have been offered positions in the past. I was offered, for example, Prime Minister Harper asked me if I would be his finance minister in 2012. It wasn't appropriate to proceed with that. I didn't.
Why wasn't it appropriate to proceed with that?
Well, I was governor of the central bank at the time, and I didn't feel that it was appropriate to go directly from being governor into elected politics. We're in a different, and there's been opportunities over time to join the Liberal Party and run.
In the 2013 Liberal Party of Canada leadership election, there was speculation that Carney would run. He ultimately declined to do so. On September 9th, 2024, Carney was named by Justin Trudeau to chair the Liberal Party of Canada's Leaders' Task Force on Economic Growth. His name was briefly mentioned upon the resignation of Chrystia Freeland as a possible candidate for finance minister in Trudeau's ministry. On January 16, 2025, Carney officially announced that he was running in the 2025 Liberal Party of Canada leadership election.
I'm here to declare my candidacy for leader of the Liberal Party and Prime Minister of Canada.
By February 9th, his campaign had raised more than $1.9 million in donations from over 11,000 people and received endorsements from 66 Liberal caucus members. Now, in 2025, Mark Carney's journey is far from over. He has promised to spend 2% of Canada's GDP on defense by the end of 2030. He also proposed scrapping the capital gains tax increase, run a fiscal deficit, and balance the federal government's operational spending. With every speech, policy recommendation, and collaborative effort, he is building a legacy that not only redefines finance, but also champions the survival of our planet. From his early days on frozen ponds to his current role as a pioneer of global finance and sustainability, Mark Carney's story is a testament to the power of vision, resilience, and the unwavering belief that a better world is within our reach. Join us in celebrating a life dedicated to transforming challenges into opportunities, a journey that continues to inspire change around the globe. Like, subscribe, and share for more inspiring stories.